What's up everybody, Tommy Hart, the real side of real estate, and in today's video, I'm taking you in on one of our brick and mortar meetups in Columbus, Ohio. You're gonna learn everything about old houses, how to rehab them, and an insight on what it looks like to come to one of my meetups. Let's get it. All right, what's up guys and girls? Appreciate you guys coming out on a Sunday. I'm sure people will kind of come in and out as we go, but want to start getting back to doing these types of meetups. Haven't done them in a while. Very, very educational centered. So I know a lot of people want to flip houses, do the burn method, which in my eyes is really the same thing. You got to learn construction. You got to learn the bones of the house. You got to learn the ins and outs. You got to learn how to find value, extract the value. So we're going to get back to these brick and mortar meetups to where once or twice a month we come out and we do just this. We're going to talk through a deal. We're going to go through real numbers. We're going to figure out the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully get you guys over some of those mental battles that maybe you have of, hey, why are you not flipping houses? What are the scares? Maybe how do you raise the financing? All that good stuff. So I applaud you guys all for coming out on a Sunday. I mean, this is not an easy thing to do. I know everybody has families, but look around the room. These are the people that are motivated to truly change their life through real estate. Whether you're in it already, someone like Obi over here who's done a bunch of deals, or you're somebody maybe brand new that's never done a flip. Like, these are the people that you're gonna see over time continue to show up. Some people may falter, but that's what I urge you guys to do. Like 9 years ago, when I got in this business, I came to these events. There were people like Austin Rutherford and Terry Summers hosting events, and I didn't know shit. Like, you guys see where I'm at now. I didn't know anything about real estate. My dad's a home inspector. I didn't grow up in that business. I didn't know anything about a house. So the things I'm gonna be talking to you guys about today, I literally learned from just getting out there and doing. So getting out there and learning from people, getting out there and failing, learning, and then keeping doing that over and over again. So hopefully these events will help you not make catastrophic failures. Like, I bought a house just like this as my first flip with my uncle, pretty much this exact type of style house, and we lost 100 grand. So don't bite off more you can chew, but there are opportunities out there to flip houses in Columbus right now. Flipping's starting to heat up again. Buyers are back out, people are starting to buy, and it's an exciting time. So we got, I'll give you guys a little bit of history about the house. Hopefully you guys walked around already. It's a crazy ass house. We're gonna talk about 5 or 6 things today. Things that I think are very, very, very important when it comes to flipping houses, especially in Columbus, because if you guys don't know this yet, Columbus it has very old houses. Everywhere you look, the opportunities are in the areas that are typically not the suburbs. The suburbs, you find them, they're getting snatched up really fast. People are paying extra. So you gotta be able to look at these older houses and know if it's a go or a pass. A lot of times you gotta look past the walls like this. What's gonna be inside of those walls? How can you have people help you get over those humps? So we're gonna talk about, first and foremost, rehabbing 100-year-old houses. This house was built in 1920. So old house. That means that once you start opening up these walls, you're gonna find old shit. And you gotta know it, and you gotta be able to budget for it. Flipping houses using other people's money, that's always the hotbed. How do you buy a house like this for $650,000 and raise money for it to where you have none of your own capital invested in it? So I'm gonna give you guys the real life scenario of how we did it on this one, and then on some of the other deals, how we're raising hard money with private money to then blend it to get us 100% financing on houses just like this too. Number 3, we're gonna talk about order of operations, and then bigger than that, permitting. As you guys can see, as you walk around, there's our drawings on the wall. So we're gonna talk about what do you need to do to streamline that process. If you don't know the permitting process, you can waste 2, 3, 4 months like that. And if you're raising money, there's opportunity costs, you're spending money on interest during that time period. So you want to be able to get it and know it and jump ahead. Number 4, value add construction. When do you add bathrooms? When do you delete bedrooms? When do you make primary bedrooms? All that type of stuff. So we're going to walk through this house. I'll tell you guys our plan and why we're doing that. Number 5, we're going to talk all the way through the numbers of this house. And then on top of that, I think this is a really, really cool thing. If you like areas like this, or even if you want to get into your next house, but don't want to put 20% down, 10% down, how can you buy a house just like this and live in it as your primary residence fixed up, using all the things investment-wise we're talking about today? And then lastly, some design and construction tips. It's cool. So we bought this house 2 days before Christmas. So we bought it a little over a month ago for $650,000. This house was for sale by owner to start, and then it went to a realtor, Obi's team lead, Brad, and it sat on the market. So they started, I think, at like $850,000. People walked in and they saw this. Like it's a great area, A+ area. People want to be in Grandview. People want to come here. They're willing to spend 7 figures on houses for like this, but there's just too much work for a homeowner. And if you guys went upstairs, you'll see there's just too much just choppiness to this house. So that's where the value add construction part comes in. If you learn how to remove things, and we'll talk about what we're doing in this house. So we ended up, I just threw him an offer that I was like, I feel like I can't lose at this number. So we threw him an offer at $650,000. We went back and forth for a couple weeks. And my biggest thing was, I don't want to buy this thing because I know that day one I'm going to start accruing a lot of interest without having a plan. So I told him the only way I'm doing that is if I can have access to this house for the 30 to 45 days I'm in contract to be able to get my design done, to get my permits submitted, and then I will close. Because that right there is going to save me 30, 60, maybe even 90 days of lead time. So we closed for $650,000. The drawings you'll see on the walls are our plans. And I guess to start here, I guess I'll just go through what it is now and what it is before. Has everybody walked through the house? Okay, cool. So we're keeping this house almost the same, other than so right now it's a 4-bed, 2-bath, 4-bed, 2-bath, maybe a 5-bed, 2-bath, whatever you swing it. This could be a bedroom over here, could be a closet, whatever you want to call it. In these nicer areas, or I would highly recommend even in like the 300 to 500 plus range, primary ensuite bedrooms. We see that the houses that we sell and also the houses that we're renting right now, if you can find a way to put a primary in those houses, they're going to sell way faster, they're going to sell for more, and they're going to rent for way more. We're getting way more rent for those houses as well. So what we're doing over in the back right corner, we're bashing those 2 bedrooms together, and we're making the back room the bedroom, and it's going to have a hallway into a bathroom. And I'll show you guys, it's going to be hard to kind of show you guys through drawings during that. And then as you guys walked upstairs, like, okay, these bedrooms are big, they're really, really quirky, and that bathroom that splits half and half is maybe one of the weirdest bathrooms I've ever seen, but there's space. So what we're going to do is, and this is the value add construction piece, we're going to rip off the back side of the house, the back roof, because I'll show you guys here, if you guys want to swing around. This wall right here is where the stairs land. This wall right here is where the bathroom ends. So there's load-bearing walls all the way to the back of this house. So we're going to do what's called a dormer, which is pulling the roof off, and we're going to make that whole backside another bedroom and a bathroom. So we're turning this place from a 4-bed, 2-bath, and then we're splitting this full bath to a half bath and a laundry. We're making it a 5-bed, 3.5 bath. So that takes this house from as is, it's probably worth about $900. It didn't sell because of all the craziness. I think the ARV is 1.35 to 1.4. And they sell fast in this area, because even in good markets, bad markets, the people with money, they're going to pay for what they want. And if you make a good product, it's going to sell. So when you're coming into an old house like that, the one thing that you need to get, 2 things. Number one is if you don't know anything, I highly, highly, highly encourage you guys to employ what's called the who, not how mentality. You guys don't have to learn how to inspect a house. You guys don't have to learn all the construction pieces. You have to meet the people that are going to help you. So highly recommend my 2 brothers and my dad are home inspectors. They will come in and they'll give you a report, 1-page report on what the house is. But I wouldn't do that on every house. I do it when you're getting closer to being in contract or actually in contract. So if you guys are walking deals with wholesalers, a lot of those times, I talked to Ron Elise, those deals are going fast. Buyers are back out. They're moving on things quick. So what I would recommend is if you, getting the wholesalers, getting the deals before they hit the email list. Like, that's going to be the biggest thing. I know it sounds impossible, but like in here, is anybody in here wholesaling? Okay, so like connect with those people and see how you can add value to their life, and see if you can look at those deals beforehand. Like, that's a huge, huge thing. When I was coming up in the wholesaling business, I didn't have this extravagant buyer's list. I didn't have these processes like, oh, hey, we need a walkthrough. We then have to get so many people in. Like, that's a sophisticated business. A lot of the wholesalers are not sophisticated businessmen or women. They just want to make money and make money fast. So if you can teach them a little bit, some of the things we're talking about here today, walk the house with them and say, hey, I know you said this house might be a light cosmetic. You bring this little outlet tester through in a 100-year-old house. You say, well, this thing's showing that it's ungrounded. You probably got knob and tube in these walls. If you're educating these people on what it is, same thing with a homeowner. If you know more, like that was a superpower I learned as a home inspector. I knew more about the house than the owner. And I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. And you don't use it unethically, you just know more. Most people don't know anything about houses. So if you can educate them or the wholesaler can go back to the homeowner and renegotiate for you. So it's not an extremely overly complicated concept, but you just gotta learn houses. So highly recommend, so just going back to the 100-year-old house thing, this is gonna be your best friend. One of the biggest things in a 100-year-old house that's gonna be an issue is your electrical. Knob and tube wiring. We'll go down in the basement and show you guys what it looks like, but it's inherently a fire hazard. A lot of insurances will not write it. So in this house here, it's riddled with it. So if I go and I'll pop it in this outlet down here, I'll pop it in there and let you guys go see it. It'll show you here very simply all of the things. So correct wiring, hot, neutral, grounded, blah, blah, blah. So if I pop this in there, I know it's tough for everybody, and I'll leave it there for everybody as we go through. The middle one means open ground. And as you're going through these old houses, open ground, so wiring goes in 3 different eras. The first era is 1800 to 1940. This house was built in 1920. So that tells me, using probability, that that's probably knob and tube. If it was built 1940 to 1970, I'm gonna be looking at 2-wire ungrounded, which is not knob and tube. It just means there's no ground. So if something shocks, or like an appliance gets a shock wave, it's gonna ruin the appliance. Or if it's 1970 plus, you're gonna have grounded wiring. This is the stuff I'm talking about, of knowing what's in the house and seeing what's going on. And if there's no power, you just make inferences. Like up here, does anybody know what this ceiling is? Plaster and lath, because it's cracking. It's got all these little lines in it. So we've got electrical right here. What do you think the electrical is in this ceiling without having to look at it? It's probably original, because the ceiling has not been touched since it was built. So you go through the house and you make these inferences, but you only know to look at it unless you've been exposed to it. So now as you guys walk through this house, you're like, okay, does that look like plaster? Does it look like, and hopefully when you walk in the houses, the power's on. That's gonna be the biggest thing. If you're not, you gotta make kind of worst case scenario judgments or go through the basement. But the trick is, and I'm sticking mostly to electric right now because that one's the toughest to see, is some homeowners, they will get told by an electrician that they upgraded their wiring. But really they just upgrade the panel and they splice the wiring into new or into old. So when the new wiring goes into old, it just makes it old. So you got to be really careful when you're walking through these basements. You don't just look at the panel, you follow the wires and see where they go into. And I'll show you guys down in the basement. I don't know if everybody probably will fit. Let's just actually go do that now while we're talking about it. And as we move forward with these brick and mortars, we're gonna keep them, as we start to figure out what number works as far as people getting in, we'll either make them smaller, we're never gonna make them bigger than this, but, and there'll be a first come, first serve basis. The first come, first serve will be anybody in our community, so like Emily and Rondalise and those people, you'll have first dibs coming to these, and then anybody beyond that. So this here is knob and tube, and for those back there kind of coming in, it's right here as well. So, but you can see back behind Sean, that panel's been upgraded. And all of this wiring coming off is newer, almost all of it. So even Brad, the agent who's been doing this for a long time, was like, hey, they upgraded the wiring. So you come downstairs, and it's everything in real estate, especially when you're the buyer, it all falls back on you. You need to control the controllables, and you need to trust but verify. You're the person that falls on the sword. If your contractor makes a mistake, it's still your fault. Everything falls back on you. So you need to set the right expectations. So this, you need to follow it. So one comes up through here, and then you can kind of see it here. So you got new wiring here, and it splices out into old right here. So that tells me, without even going through the rest of the house, like there's a lot of knob and tube in this house. So what we're gonna have to do in this house is we're gonna have to strip all the wiring out, and that's an upgraded panel, but I'm gonna have to pull a permit. I'm gonna have to do all new electric in this house, no matter what. So that also, I mean, it's a lot of money. We'll spend probably 15 grand rough and final on this, but it's an opportunity to make the house what you want. New can lights, new light fixtures, sconces in the bathroom. And that's another point I'm gonna make about like the design. Do not try, if you're brand new, go ahead.
What if they actually did upgrade all the electric wiring, but they left the old knob?
You should be able to follow it, and it should be cut. So it should be cut in like certain areas like this.
Yeah.
A lot of electricians are lazy, and I mean, it's a lot of extra work to pull these out. So they'll leave some of it. So when I'm setting expectations with my contractors, I need them to cut it and strip it. Because last thing I want to do, even if they're wrong, because home inspectors can and will be wrong, they'll call it out if they see it in like an attic, even if it's not energized. So then you have to spend the money to go prove them wrong, which is a pain in the ass.
Sure.
So what I was saying is hire a designer. Hire someone. Does everybody know Amanda Williams? If you guys come to our meetups, did she do your house?
Yep.
Fucking the bomb.
Yeah.
She's extremely talented. Just don't, it's the who not how concept we talked about earlier. Make sure like what you think is cool does not mean everybody else thinks it's cool. Do what people that do this for a living do. The $1,500 to $2,500 for that cost may sound high, but I promise you, like Brad over here, Brad's the one of the executive producers on the TV show we just did. Those houses that we did for this TV show are selling like hotcakes. And that's the first time that we've done a designer house on every single one. They're going like that.
Yeah, we listed our house on a Thursday, and Monday we had 5 offers for which we're over asking.
Yeah.
He's staged also.
Yeah. So, and he's in UA, and the price point was what, 780,000?
Yeah.
So,
We got offers over asking, yeah.
over asking. So the money's there. People are just tired. Like people have choices now, and people with the interest rates being a little higher and the market a little tighter, like they don't have to go buy the cookie cutter house. Like the buyers have the power. So down here, well, a couple more things about 100-year-old houses. What you want to look at closely. The first thing is going to be subfloor. So walking through the house. Almost every full rehab we're doing in like the children's hospital area, we're not doing a lot of those anymore because those are tough. Almost always we're doing some sort of subfloor repair or full subfloor repair. So if you're doing a full renovation on a 100-year-old house, I would budget probably 10 to 15,000 no matter what to do subfloor repair, because the worst thing you want to do is get through this rehab, do your framing, do your HVAC, do your electrical, do your plumbing, and start to lay your floors on uneven floors. Because you just spent so much money to get to that point, you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. And then also with these big rehabs, 20% contingency off the top of your budget, no matter what. So if my budget on this is $350,000, I'm throwing 20% on top of that. And you will use it. I can almost guarantee it. I saw people on a Facebook group the other day be like, oh, 10%. 10% is not enough. I promise you. So down here, you want to look at your foundation. So a lot of these old 100-year-old houses are stone foundations. This basement's actually very dry. Very, very dry for a 100-year-old house. But the way you want to, first thing you want to do is smell. Does it smell wet? If it smells wet, it's probably over time getting wet. Look at your ductwork. If your collars on your ductwork here are getting rusty, that means your basement is moist over time. And then lastly, your joists. If your joists have small buildup or heavy buildup of mold, it's likely because your foundation is leaking water. So the things you can do is fix your gutters. This house doesn't even have gutters. So that's how good that this drainage is in this house. Make sure you might have to do an interior drainage system, but fix your gutters, fix your grading around the house, and then move forward. And then lastly is going to be your plumbing. I think the stack is over there. So your plumbing is where your poop and your pee slides down to the sewer line. This is all copper, so this is not original to the house. So at some point, they upgraded all the plumbing. So in these old houses, you're gonna get what's called cast iron, which is down here. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you have the contingency in your contract, if you're going to buy a house, run a camera down this line. Pay the $200 to have somebody come out. One, for the peace of mind, and two, a broken line is like a $10,000 to $15,000 fix for most people. And your buyer on the back end, did you do one? Is that why you're laughing? Yeah, it's not a, it's not a fun fix, and it doesn't give you any value. Like, if you can catch it before you go to sell, and this is going to scare the shit out of a buyer, and you're going to give the power to the buyer on the back end. So run the camera, make sure you look, or at least after you buy it, run a camera so you're not surprised during inspection. And that's one thing we're always doing on all of our houses right now on the back end, is we're inspecting them before we put them on the market as well. Because the market is getting better, but your first buyer is your best buyer almost every time. Keep them in contract. If you fall out of contract once or twice, you're gonna lose money. Ask me how I know. I'm losing money on houses every now and again. And that's just how it goes. And also you get emotionally attached and you think your house is maybe worth more. Please appease that first buyer, I promise you. Anybody have questions about basements? I know I could go on for hours down here about 100-year-old houses, but just know you want to look for moisture, you want to look for mold, you want to look for sloping floors, and you want to look at your mechanical systems. One more point on this, and then we'll answer some questions. Furnaces. So this furnace and this water heater there, the furnace doesn't, but the water heater discharges into that chimney. For those of you that don't know, old furnaces and water heaters, they have combustible gases that go up and out of the house. Most of the times they go into old chimneys. That chimney has been here for 100+ years. Guess what the inside of that chimney looks like without looking? It probably looks like shit. So this furnace is good. It runs through this PVC pipe here out the side. This is a high efficient furnace. That's amazing. Anytime that we're budgeting for a new furnace in these old houses, every single time, high efficient. You do not want to tie into an old chimney, because even though you have a new furnace, if an inspector's good and a buyer's nitpicky, a steel liner, anybody had to have a quote for a steel liner ever in a chimney?
Yeah, we just redid ours. It was like $6,500.
$6,500, that's a quote I got. It's not a fun thing to do, because like, if you take that away and you just have a chimney, we put in our listings, the fireplace is decoration. Takes away all liability, and if they want to use it, it's on them, because I put in my listing that is a decoration only chimney. Boom. You can't negotiate with me after that. Emily.
Are the fireplaces ever worth like saving? I see a lot of people just build them in.
I have never redid a fireplace. People just don't use fireplaces anymore, from what I see. I'm sorry?
Did you remove the stack?
We have. So like this chimney goes up through the kitchen area. If I'm trying to open up that wall, that chimney's either going to be in the middle, so I either make that a focal point, we've done that, and like build an island around it, or you could take it out from the roof line. It's really expensive. We've done that too, plenty of times. Any other questions about basements, foundations?
Was the sewer line already replaced?
I assume they did something because they cut it out. And that's also another thing. Like, look around. The house will typically tell the story. Like, if it's an old cast iron drain, if it has a new cap right here, which is the clean out, if it has a new cap and there's some staining around it, there was probably an issue before. So like if you're buying from a wholesaler or you get the opportunity to walk the house, look at these areas very closely, or teach the wholesaler to take pictures of what actually matters. The walls, the ceilings, the floors they're important obviously to build your budget, but this is the shit that's really going to make or break your deal. Like if you miss a sewer line collapse, that's 10 grand. Like most people are running their profit margins on a typical flip in Columbus for 30 to 40 grand in the first time price point. Like that's 1/3 of your margin right there. Next thing you know, you request a remedy from a buyer and your margin is completely gone. What other questions we got down here? Another thing in these houses is there's going to be very little insulation in them. So as you start to open up these walls, I would budget every time to re-insulate the walls and re-insulate the ceilings, even if you're not removing the plaster. Like this house, we'll walk through it again. We're not going to remove all the walls. We're going to skim coat a lot of these, and we're going to pop holes to run new electric and fish wires up. But we're also going to pop holes in the walls, and we're going to blow insulation in every bay of the house and then mud those walls back up. Do you have a question, Sean?
No.
Okay.
I just got a question.
What's up?
Are you leaning towards mostly remodeling the basement, or are you trying to leave it as in a case by case?
So in a 100-year-old, that's a great question. 100-year-old house, we never finish. Ever. I mean, you just never know when, like even if you have a drainage system, you never know when it's going to fail. Because like these are stacked rocks. This foundation is literally rocks that they went to the quarry and grabbed, stacked on top of each other, and the house is sitting 100 years old. That itself is insane. Usually the ceilings are a little bit lower. You got all these pipes running through. We paint the floors gray. We buy paint chips from Amazon. While the paint's wet, we throw them in, and then we do a white clear coat on top of it, and it makes it look like an epoxy floor. Gives it a nice finish with very little extra money.
No even in the floors though? No level in the floor?
If it's cracked, yes, but this floor here we will not do anything with. We'll paint the ceilings black, we'll paint the walls, and we'll make this nice. And then this back area, if you guys want to walk through it as we go back up, we might make it into like, because it's a higher end house, we might do some sort of like wine cellar / speakeasy vibe down here.
Did you say you
Oh, you're getting dripped on. Huh?
Did you say you put the ceilings black?
Yes. We paint
All the wires, everything?
Yep, all the wires after. It just gives it a very clean look. We'll do like a flat black every time.
The stack stone, if it wasn't concreted, would you guys concrete it, or would you just leave a stack stone if it was like structurally sound, but it was just not mortared?
Yeah, if it's losing mortar, we'll tuck point it. We'll tuck point it and parge it. So come through tuck, and then if you want to get it like this, you almost have to smear, and that's expensive. It's like to do new plaster around this is probably a $5,000 job. And that's shit that like gives you no value. It's just to make, because when a buyer comes in, they want to be in those areas, but if their realtor is not good enough to prep them that these houses are old and maybe have problems, they're going to get scared shitless when they get an inspection. So you hope that the realtor is good and they can explain, hey, you're not looking at a new build, you're looking at a 100-year-old house, but it's your job to take all those scares away.
What's the reason for insulating inside all the walls? It seems like an expensive thing that a buyer's not going to know whether it's there or not.
That's a good question. Permitting is typically one of them. So permitting, you're gonna need to pass an insulation inspection if they see you troughed holes in. A lot of the times as you pop the holes in, you can stuff, depends on what jurisdiction you're in. Like some areas are way harder than others. So like Grandview, I have one on Wyandotte, we blew in because the inspector was an asshole to us. And that same inspector was nice to me on another house we have on First Ave right here, and all we did was stuff insulation back in those holes. So it's kind of a toss-up. I would start by jamming loose fill fiberglass up in those walls, and then after, if that doesn't work, we use a company called iFoam, and that's expensive. And also, it's a selling point. You can show people they call it R value. You can give them a sheet saying, hey, here's what, like, this house is very efficient. And that's a good value add because people are kind of worried about that. Any other questions about 100-year-old houses? And we'll go upstairs, get out of this nasty basement. And then we'll get into some of the financing stuff upstairs. Cool, we'll run upstairs. What's up, dude?
Good, how's it going?
Okay.
What year was price ask?
I think 40.
In my heart, I was thinking it's 100 years when we finished.
No, that's got block.
I was like,
What's up, Zach? How you doing, bro? Great to see you.
See you too, Bob.
Good stuff?
Yeah.
You learning some shit?
Just walking around checking this house out.
It's wild. This house is awesome.
are you guys gonna have to like get the walls there?
No. So as people start to come back in, what I was talking about, as you start to rewire these houses, say, what we're gonna probably do is drop these ceilings out. We're gonna pull the wallpaper out, mud the walls, and then do new drywall on the ceilings. What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to, luckily, I guess it is a two-story house, never mind. We're gonna have to pop holes, because you got floor outlets right now. We gotta have outlets in each wall. So we're gonna pop holes in the plaster, and then you gotta pop holes up through the wall, in through the ceiling, upstairs too. So that adds a lot of extra. So if the house has really bad plaster, I highly, highly, highly recommend just gutting it, because you're gonna spend so much extra money and so much extra time on mud that's not gonna be perfect, especially if you don't have an A-class drywaller. And also, if you guys ever need any contractor help, just shoot me a text. Most people have my number by now. Shoot me a text, shoot me a DM. I love sharing my contractors, just because like that stuff always comes back. Like if you have a network of people, like my electrician loves the fact that I give him referrals, and it helps me on the back end with my pricing. So like if you guys need any help, just let me know. So we'll be cutting holes in the walls. So we're gonna start with demo. So I guess maybe order of operations is a better thing to go next. So order of operations on a house like this, we were gonna, did you print that? Order of operations too, on the back end? Oh, is there one or is there multiple?
20.
All right, let's pass a couple of these around. So take one, pass it, give a couple here. Pass a couple around. Just so you guys can see a little bit of a visual of what I'm talking about here. So we're gonna start here by doing demo. Make sure you're extremely, you set expectations with your demo contractors. Like, hey, if we're opening up the walls or dropping the ceilings, I need you to pull all the nails, I need it broom swept, and if I want to keep these floors, you need to cover the floors with ram board before you do that. Because they're gonna come in, they're gonna be doing their thing, they're gonna be stepping on plaster, they're gonna be turning, and next thing you know, your hardwood floors that you may wanted to keep are gonna be destroyed. So it's, once again, it's not their fault because they're just doing what they do all the time. It's your job as the flipper and the owner to set the expectations of what you need out of the house. So we're gonna have them strip all of the plaster, we're gonna drop the ceilings, we're gonna take some of this woodwork out. I don't know what we're taking out and what we're keeping yet. Like that back bedroom, as you guys walk through it again after we talk about all these things, the trim or the wainscoting is just old doors that he put together. So this old owner did all the woodwork. Some of it doesn't match, and as you look closer, it's like, oh, okay, that's not really as cool as it may look. So you start with demo, and the next thing you have to do is you have to dry in the house. So this is your time to put a new roof on it. This is your time to waterproof a basement. This is your time to put doors on it, maybe even your windows. And then after that, you're gonna get into your rough mechanicals. Actually framing. So you're gonna frame the house too at this point. So in this house, we're gonna blow the back of the house, the roof off. So we're gonna be framing out the dormer, getting that framed up, and then we're gonna put our roof on it. You can't really see it now because there's a lot of snow, but this roof is really, really cool. And he's got these old shingles, and we're gonna try and match it. So a lot of times you can, if you're doing things like that, like removing a chimney we talked about, you don't have to replace the whole roof if it's not a bad roof. You can usually get replacement shingles for that. So framing, we're gonna frame in the half bath. We're gonna put a beam over in that bedroom to kind of open them up together. And we're gonna add a bathroom in between the two bedrooms, kind of up here. And in that same time, as you start to learn more about mechanical systems, I know that if I'm adding a bathroom up here and my plumbing stack was, where do we go down? It's probably down that way. I know that my plumbing that's gonna be here in this area has to go down all the way over to that side of the house. So then I need to get with my plumber early to know where he's gonna run it so I can build what's called a soffit. Because anytime you have to call people back, you're delaying your process to your next guys, and you're gonna spend more money getting them back out. So I know if my plumbing is gonna be around here, I'm most likely gonna either drop it on a soffit there, down through the floor, and out, and then also your HVAC too. If I'm adding bathrooms, if I'm adding bedrooms, I need to add new HVAC runs. So that furnace down there, that's good, I probably am not gonna be able to keep it because it doesn't have enough BTU, it's probably not big enough for the house. So these are all things that you need to ask somebody as you go through the value add construction process.
If you're going drop ceiling, would you hide it up in the drop ceiling?
Possibly. Yeah. So like, if it makes sense, if I have to have enough soffits. Yeah. So we had a house over on Ellesmere in German Village where we had to literally drop because I don't want a random soffit here, a random soffit there. It just looks, I want a clean ceiling. So if it makes sense, drop it all, but you don't want to make it feel too tight as well. So then you're gonna start your mechanicals. The way that you do your mechanicals is you start with plumbing. Plumbing goes first every single time because it's the least bendable. Like a plumbing drain can only go so much and it can only go so many places. So you start with your plumbing. The next thing you do is your HVAC because your HVAC, sometimes the ductwork can be flexible. That can go around things. And then the last thing is electric. Electric can flow through pretty much anything and everything. So that's the way you do it every single time, no matter what. And then after that, and we'll talk about permitting kind of after this, after that, you're gonna insulate. So as we have these new bathrooms, and make sure your HVAC person sets your exhaust fans too. That's gonna be something that they do as well. Any questions on mechanicals? Plumbing, HVAC, electric, in that order every time. Okay, after that, you're gonna do your insulation. So like I said, we're gonna be popping holes in these walls. If you have the house gutted, the exterior walls get insulated to R30. R30 is gonna be the exterior walls. Actually, no, that's attic. Attic is your R30 minimum. Some areas more. Walls are going to be like an R13 to R19. So a single bay fiberglass. But that's something that I would ask that city what they want. And at the same time, when you're doing insulation, you're going to have to do what's called fire blocking. So as you're putting things up through the ceilings, like plumbing, they got to seal around that with spray foam. And that's the thing that you'll fail a lot of insulation inspections on. So make sure you hire somebody that knows what they're doing for insulation, or insulation rather, because you'll definitely fail that a few times if you don't know what you're doing. And then after that is going to be drywall. The only nuance with drywall is going to be if you're doing a shared wall house, like let's say a condo, you have to have fire rated drywall in between two shared spaces. So if you have a garage that's attached to the house, you need fire rated drywall on the side that attaches to the house. Because if your car catches on fire, you want it to have an hour rating to not pass into your house, to be able the fire department to come. So that's gonna be code. And then if your house next to you, in Columbus at least, if you're in 5 feet of the property line, you have to have fire rated drywall or sheathing on that whole side of the house. Expensive. And it's a shitty lesson if you come in and you have to rip off your drywall and redo it. Ask me how I know.
What about if it's brick?
Brick, you don't have to. Unless the inspector's an asshole. Because like sometimes you have to just do whatever they say. Any questions on that? And then once you get to that point, especially when you're doing a permitted job like this, you're off to the races. Now the city's off your back. The next thing you do is you lay your floors, you set your cabinets, you paint, you do your tile work, and you pretty much finish the house out. Once you get past that, you're looking very good. So down to the permitting side of it, and I don't think we have that on there. Oh, I guess you call your MEPs back in that point. So if you're not using a general contractor, because they'll do all these things for you, and I highly recommend you do use a general contractor on your first one or two, you will call your electrician back. So you'll pay what's called a rough plumb and a rough electric, which is literally the wiring in the boxes, and they come back again to set your lights, your switches, your plumbing fixtures, your toilets, all that stuff. Good? Permitting. So your permits, they're a pain in the ass, and there's a reason they're tough. And the thing is, different cities within Columbus have their own permitting, and they have different ways that they do things. So Grandview, for example, I've learned is actually pretty easy. But in general, what you do is as you walk around the house after this, we have our garage drawings here, and we have our drawings in there. You have to get an architect or somebody that, it doesn't have to be like a quote-unquote true architect. It can be somebody that knows how to do drawings. So I have 2 people that I can give you guys, I guess I'll just give you guys their numbers here. So if you want not an architect, but he knows what he's doing, Maynard, his number is 614-967-8803. Now he'll come through and get almost the exact same plans you see here, but he does not have an architect stamp. And an architect stamp is very important in some areas.
One more time on the phone number.
614-967-8803. And then the next person, I would actually just hit up Amanda Williams on the other one. So Amanda, we talked about with the design stuff. So she has an architect on staff that can do drawings as well. Her number is 614-603-5730. 614-603-5730. And she can literally help you A to Z on these houses. She'll help you go from the idea creation to the design to the drawings to helping you get your permit. So once you get these, you have to apply for what's called your general permit. So your general permit, and now to get a permit most times you have to have a general contractor. So what I do is I have a general contractor friend that I'll pull the permits and I'll run everything under him. So I'll pay him, but he still is the face. So you have to get a general contractor either to do it or help you pull. So the other thing that you can do is called a homeowner's permit. And that's what we've been doing more as of late. So like this house will be a homeowner's permit. Technically, you have to sign like an addendum saying you're gonna live in the house after you're done. The cities don't give a fuck. They just want their money. And that's what I've just learned over time is they don't care as long as they get their check. So we'll sign an addendum, and then what the cool thing is after that is you don't have to have your other subs pull their own permits. So when you get a general permit, your general is going to give you framing. It'll allow you to do a framing inspection, insulation, drywall, and final occupancy. Framing, insulation, drywall, final occupancy. That's what your general permit is going to allow you to get. And then you have to have your subcontractors, your electrician, your plumber, your HVAC, pull their own permit on your permit. So they have to get your number from your contractor, go get it, pull it, and then they stamp on top of that. As a homeowner's permit, you don't need any of that. They just come and see if the work's done right. So you save time and you save a little bit of money as a homeowner's permit. Highly, highly, highly recommend that. We're doing that as much as we can right now. Any questions on permitting?
What if they call you out on that?
I've not had that happen yet. It's like, I don't know how they can prove that I'm not going to live there. It's like, oh, I got to the end of the project and I went over budget. I can't afford the house anymore. Got to sell it.
Yeah.
So once again, I just don't think they give a shit. Because like, I've just done my house, which is down the street, another house, and this house, all on homeowners permits. Same inspector, same people, they don't give a fuck. They're just like, oh, hey, Tom, how you doing again? You're moving a lot. So it's just all about money. And it's also, Columbus is a lot harder because they have such a bigger organization and more people, but like, it's a relationship business. Like if you can get in good with somebody, like my old team member, he was like a local hero in Bexley. Anytime he called, they answered and they did what they needed. So like the more you can play the game. So after you get your subs to pull their electrical, plumbing, all that stuff, once again you're off to the races. You call the electrician and plumber back. You have to pass your rough electric, rough plumbing, and rough HVAC, and then you have to call them back to get your final electric, final plumbing, and then what's called a final certificate of occupancy. That's basically them coming in, making sure that your smoke detectors work, your carbon monoxide works, and it's safe to live. Once you get that, you're fully done with the city.
So 2 questions. Is this historic?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Great.
You
It's the
kind of
best.
skip the windows though? Are they making you
They,
place counterweights and everything?
if they, historic society, they can tell you that. But since it's not historic, I can do whatever I want with these windows.
Okay.
So the way that you know a house is historic, if you go to the auditor, so type in the house, auditor, go to the very bottom of the house. In the very, very bottom, it'll tell you the acreage, it'll tell you the dimensions of the lot, and in the very right, it'll tell you if it's historic or not, at least in Franklin County. And if it pops up saying historic, you're in for a battle. I would highly recommend staying away from historic houses for a long time. I still don't like them. They suck. Yeah, Old Oaks, Italian Village, Grandview has one. There's a few. They suck. And it's just,
What are you doing with the windows?
I don't know yet. I'm assuming I'm going to replace them with like nicer windows.
Yeah.
Probably not vinyl, maybe like an upgraded. We're gonna have to do, to get 1.4 here, we're gonna have to do maybe some hardy siding. Probably have to upgrade the windows nicely. We're gonna have to do some exterior zhuzhing, as my mom would say. So any questions on permitting? Okay. Any questions in general? Cool. All right, let's get into money. All right, so on February 11th, we've not announced it yet, we're having another meetup at DraftKings, and we're gonna be talking for 20 minutes or so about private money. So it'll be more in depth, I would say. So I guess by a show of hands, who's not attempting to flip houses because of financing? Okay.
I used to be that way.
Okay. I would say that's probably going to be everybody at some point. So who in here is actively raising either private money or hard money? Okay. So other than financing, I guess throw out some things. What is scaring you flipping? The unknowns, not knowing houses?
Finding the right deal.
Finding the right deal? Deals? Okay. That's good. We'll do another meetup about finding deals again. But for this house here, we did 100% private money. So I bought it for $650,000. We're gonna put $350,000 into this house. We're gonna build that 3-car garage you see on the wall. We're gonna pop the top. We're gonna do new electric, new plumbing, new HVAC, new high-end kitchen, bathrooms, you name it. So 350 grand is our budget to be an ARV of, let's call it 1.35. So I need about $1 million to fix up this house. It's a lot of cash. But the cool thing is people have that money. And you just got to be able to build those relationships. And if you don't have those relationships yet, well, you probably already do. You're just not talking about what you do enough. And you've not proved to them that you can be a steward for their cash. Or you raise hard money. And hard money doesn't really care. They just want their return. So I'm gonna give you guys this 2 ways of how you can raise it. 2 or 3 actually. So this one, I raised $700,000 to start. The cool thing about private money and doing deals in general is you can raise at any time. So this is going to be a 6-month project, hopefully start to finish. Go ahead.
So when you're raising, are you like a contract or
Yep.
already secured?
Yep. Well, I'll go through that here in a second. So I raised 700 grand, and so that's obviously not $1 million, right? But I have a couple month leeway to get started on this. So get my permits, all that stuff. If I raise, the cool thing about private money is you can get all of it day one if you want. But that's a slippery slope. That means you're accruing interest on $1 million day one, which would be $120,000 a year at 12%. That's a lot of money. So what I do on projects that are going to take a little bit longer is I raise them in phases. At least on private. Hard money, they do that automatically because you have to do draws. So day one, $700,000 at 12% is what? You have your calculator up? 84,000? We got some mathletes in here, baby. Let's go. 84,000. Who wants to divide that by 365 for me?
Change.
230. What's the change that matters?
230.14.
Okay. So every day that I hold this house, I'm accruing $230.14 a day to this lender. It's a big number, but that's the game you're playing with flipping houses. Like this is what I urge you guys to look at. Like, what's your cost of capital? Every day that your contractor's not here. So like this event is costing me $230.14 because my guys are not fucking working, right? So this is what you need to be looking at because this is how you're going to pay your lender on the back end. We sign a note and we sign a mortgage with these lenders, typically a year long. So what that means is so if I only raise $700,000 for this, 84 would be the whole year of interest. But it's paid on what's called a per diem basis, broken out in the note. We're paying 12% with no prepayment penalty. So if it takes me, let's say, I'm going to do the whole scenario here, but let's say if this was all I raised, let's say it takes me 167 days to finish this house. Times, who wants to take that times 230, 14?
You're not paying any points?
This guy, no.
38,433.
38,403.
33. 433.
Point what?
38.
So for this portion of the loan, I'm paying $38,000 and some change of interest for that 6 months or so. But if you take that same scenario, $100,000 or 1 million rather, it's a different number, times 0.12, Jared, equals 120,000 divided by 365. What's 120,000 divided by 365? 328. 77 cents. Equal, so what's that times 167?
54,000.
Okay. So with a lot of these deals that you're doing, especially with these older houses, these bigger rehabs, don't raise all the private money up front. Because right there, I'm saving almost 20 grand just by raising it in phases. Now I'm gonna need this whole million, but I might not need another 50K for another 3-4 months. So that's what we're doing with these deals. And also, if you're working with hard money lenders, they're going to do that regardless. So make sure when you're talking to hard money, that's the biggest question you need to ask them is how do you calculate interest payments? Some of them will do what's called Dutch interest, which is you pay interest on the entire thing from day one, even if you've not drawn the cash out. You don't want that. You want interest paid on drawn funds only. Because like if I'm not using it, why would I be paying interest on it? That sounds ridiculous. That's how private money works. Because in this scenario, if I bought it for $650 and I needed $1 million, I would have got $350 grand wired to my bank account that day. So now you have to use that money. So like you could be sophisticated and you can maybe lend that money out to somebody else for a couple months and do that whole thing, but you don't want to do that. So any questions on how the basics of calculating your private money works?
Do you ever run into a situation where they're charging you to pay off early?
So what we do, the cool thing about private money is you make the rules. And it depends on if the person that you're talking to has lent before. If they've lent before, like if you come to someone like me, I know real estate, I know lending, so maybe I charge a prepayment penalty. Most will not. So that's the biggest thing is no prepayment penalty at all. So we pay 3-month minimum, and this is how I sell it to people. Hey, this is a 3-month minimum, no prepayment penalty. So if I buy this house today for $650 and someone down the street sees my Instagram and says, I love that house, I'll buy it for $900 right now. Amazing. I'm gonna pay 3 months of interest on that private money that I just raised for that, no matter what. So that's a good sell to people. Like, hey, we do a lot of wholesaling. We buy and list a lot of houses that we buy as we're starting to build our scopes of work. And that's something that our lenders will get paid 3 months on no matter what. So no prepayment penalty, 3 month, paid on a per diem basis, and always a year-long term. It could balloon in 6 months. Balloon just means you have to pay it off in 6 months, but it always amortizes over a year because I want to know what my calculations are. I don't have to be a math wizard to understand what my cost of capital is. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's say a hard money lender, let's say you go to someone like Kiabi, and they say, okay, I like the deal, but we're gonna give you 100 or 90% of purchase and 100% of rehab. So 10% purchase equals $65,000. And then you're gonna pay, I don't know, a point or two, let's call it 2. 2 points on 650 is what, like 15 grand, 14 grand? So you're gonna need about 80 grand, let's call it, after fees and shit, to close. Cash to close. This makes it much easier to flip houses. Like this is a high dollar house here. Now you look at like a $200,000 house in Columbus, that chops that down to 20 grand, 30 grand, which is much more manageable. Everybody in this room has somebody in their life that can lend them 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, guaranteed. You just haven't talked to enough people. Like there's somebody in this room that will do it. So that makes this more manageable. And what you do is they take first lien position and they're gonna escrow all the rehab funds. So let's say I do the demo, I start doing the electric, the framing, I spend 50 grand, I call them back out, they will then draw that money once it's done. So you're always kind of chasing your tail with hard money, I like to say. Meaning you're gonna have a credit card that's typically close to maxed out. It's just the way it is, especially if you don't have much cash when you're starting. Or you have your own money just in it at all times. So there's good and there's bad to both. The other bad to this is you're paying a monthly interest payment to these people every single month. They're gonna get your bank account information, they're taking it on the first. It's the first right now. There's a lot of hard money coming out of my bank account today. It's not fun. So you have to make the decision, okay, am I willing to pay? So I just closed a hard money loan with somebody out of California at 8.7% last week. Phenomenal. Is it worth paying like a 10, Kiavi's gonna be like 10 to 12. Typical private money is gonna be like 12 to 14. If you can get anywhere 10 to 12, it's, that's a banger private money lender, keep them tight. Let's say 12 to 14, is it worth paying maybe less points and a little more interest to a private money lender, or do you go less interest and pay monthly payments? It's just gonna depend on your financial situation. If you're trying to scale your business, hard money is gonna be much more accessible, but it's a slippery slope. We have about $100,000 a month right now of hard money payments that we're paying. And that payment hurts bad. Because once you start getting into flipping, the biggest thing that is going to be just, I guess, a bottleneck is cash flow. Managing money, managing cash flow. It's not the contractors. I can promise you it's the money side. So you can find this $80,000 from somebody else. And what you do is you sign a note and a mortgage with, let's say, Kiavi. And then you find somebody to give you 80 to 100,000. In this scenario, I would go 100. Because that extra $20,000 is going to help you service those first couple debt payments and get your construction started. Because the cool thing about hard money is, let's say in this scenario they give you 350 grand escrowed. I already raised 20 grand up front extra for my private money. If I use 300 of my rehab and not the 50, that 50 doesn't go anywhere. It goes towards your principal at payoff. Does that make sense? So if you don't use it, you don't lose it. So you can have it. And if you raise it more up front from a private money lender, just think of it that way. I just raised it up front and I don't use the rest of that. Make sense? Any questions on, and then, what's your name back there, James? So James asked, in this scenario, you will still sign a note and you will sign a mortgage. And the documents that you use on this is a standard mortgage. If you guys need these, shoot me a DM, shoot me a text, get with Jared, I'll give you guys these. Standard mortgage. And then you sign a promissory cognate note. So the mortgage is going to tie the house as collateral. The note is going to say what you're paying back to that lender, meaning it's going to have the numbers in it. When is it due? What is the interest? And what are the prepayment penalties? So, and you're also signing that, it's some say promissory, some say promissory. Either one's right, tomato, tomato. That means you promise to pay that person back. You're also signing that personally and as your business. So if you get foreclosed on, they can come after your personal assets and your business assets. It's a very, very serious thing. A lot of people on the internet talk about, me included, like how great it is, how awesome it is, but I've seen people go bankrupt, I've seen people go out of business by raising willy-nilly expensive money and saying it's easy, saying it's this. This is a very, very serious thing. You gotta pay these people back. And if you have those notes and mortgages in place, you record those at title, they're gonna pull that up on a title search. And when you go to sell the house, they're going to say, hey, I owe Doug X amount of dollars for this house. You got to pay them back. Or else they have the right to take the house back legally. They are the bank in this scenario. If you don't pay your mortgage, John, what are they going to do? They're taking that shit back all day, every day.
You have to record that private money?
No, you don't.
Okay.
So it just depends. We try to record everything with newer lenders. And if somebody, like, if you trust me, I trust you, you can hold it privately. Because another thing with hard money, like Kiavi, they're gonna before they draw. So let's say you want 50 grand for your roof, your siding, your windows, your doors. They're gonna pull a title search before they give you that money. And if they see extra liens on the house, they won't give you the money. Jared.
Talk about that is if you raise money with hard money and you need the extra cash for a down payment, kind of blending the two. I know sometimes hard money doesn't really like that. So
yes.
How do you get around that? How do you make sure that you can...
So it's mostly a don't ask, don't tell situation. Do not tell the hard money company you're doing that, because they're underwriting. Like if you send the docs in with theirs, they're going to review and they're going to say no. But their rep, let's say you're talking to like an Alex Rose with Renovo here in town. He knows the game. They know the game. The owners know the game. Their underwriting team is just not going to allow it. So what you do is you close. And then you have your title company record that note and mortgage a day or two later.
Is that because they don't get the first right of refusal?
They just don't want to see any other liens on the house at all. They don't want to have any other obstructions if they have to take that house back. James.
If your hard money is kind of like asking for proof of funds or something like that to prove that you can pay for the closing costs and the first couple payments or whatever, are you kind of like getting that private money first?
Yep.
Or using a different account?
Yep. So I mean, if you have it in your accounts, great. They make it very easy. Like if you have any type of money anywhere, they'll use it. They'll use 401ks, they'll use stocks, they'll use crypto, all that stuff. But in that scenario, like I just had somebody in my community ask that. I was like, I'll send you the money for a couple days if you need it, or have the private money lender send it to you a couple days before. Because they're not like a regular bank. They're not going to do like a true verification. They just want to see you have it in your bank. Cool. Any other questions about hard money, private money? This guy lent it to me out of his 401k. So I'm not gonna go super deep into that because that's a whole talk in itself, but he is a businessman. He's been putting money into a 401k. He self-directed it, meaning you can do whatever you want with that money within their guidelines. Real estate lending is one of them. Is that what you do? Yeah. So Doug has a 401k that he rolled into a self-directed, and he started lending money. He started learning this world, and he's like, well, I'm making 6% in my 401k and I have no control over it. Like, why would I not go get 12 to 14%? Like, it's a no fucking brainer. As long as the biggest thing in this business is you got to bet on the right jockey. You guys are a steward of somebody's cash. You have to take this serious. So like learning the shit we're talking about today is so, so, so important, because there's so many people run around that have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And they're just relying on their contractor to tell them everything about the house. Please just learn as much as you can about the product. It's like a doctor not knowing about a body and he has to go into a surgery. It's very risky. Cool. Any questions?
How did you say you learned again?
Well, my dad's a home inspector, so I learned that. At the investing side, I listened to pretty much every Bigger Pockets podcast from 1 to like 500 at the time, and went to meetups like this. And I started paying for masterminds. I started going to places, and like I didn't know the 401k thing until I was in a mastermind in Florida. Maybe it was in like Cabo or something. I mean, you get to go to cool places. There was more back then, but like we sat in a room, and Amanda, she's from Cleveland, she had a presentation, and it blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, I've got a finance degree from the University of Dayton. I don't know anything about any money at all. And I have a fucking degree on it. It was like, why do you not teach me this shit? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So it's getting in the rooms where people have done it and they have the track record. You can't just listen to Joe Schmo on the internet. Like, make sure you verify those people. So we can take a little break if you guys want. I'm gonna have a little bit of water. How are we looking on time, Jared? Cool. Cool. I got some time today too, so not going to bore you guys with a whole bunch of number stuff much more, but want to show you guys how we run numbers real quick. So on this one, showed you guys how to calculate the interest. So let's just assume that we're going to pay day one private money for $1 million. So we got that 120,000, 120K for the year. And then let's say this is a 6-month project. So we got, what would that be, 60 grand of interest to my lender going out. And this is an accrued interest, so it's paid at exit of the deal. So I sell it for 1.35 times, this is how I'm running my numbers on the front end. So as I'm back of napkin. Now did everybody have my deal analyzer? If you don't, I highly recommend getting it from Jared or Enoch, because it'll help you visualize all these numbers and then some. It'll break it out more for you. So times 0.945. So the reason for this is 1% for closing costs. Seller always pays closing costs on the transaction unless you can negotiate it in. A lot of times you're not. And then this is going to be 4.5% realtor commissions. If you're a flipper, you should not be paying 3% to your realtor. It's a volume game. You should have somebody in your corner unless they find you the deal on the front side. So like,
can I also just quickly recommend on our Upper Arlington house, we used Ohio Broker Direct.
Yep.
And literally paid them $800
Yep.
to put it on the market.
And then you handle the calls.
We found a buyer that didn't have a buyer's agent.
Awesome.
No commission.
That's
made us $25,000.
That's extremely lucky, but amazing.
Yeah, it worked out nice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I highly recommend them.
So that is a great point. You can pay. There's somebody in Columbus, Jenna Andrews. She'll do it for like $300, but you'll set it up like people do it for novations too. So you pay them. You handle everything else. They'll set up the listing. You're in it as you handle the calls. You handle the paperwork. You do all that stuff. So this one, I'm paying 1.5% to my agent on the back end, and then 3%, at least for right now, to the buyer's agent. So 1.5%. Now you can negotiate that. Like you could put it up for sale, and you could say, hey, the seller's only going to pay 4%, but you might be taking away some people that are wanting to get paid more as far as a realtor goes. And that's also a negotiation point on the back end. Like if you're getting close on numbers, stick your foot in the sand and say, okay, if you're going to make a realtor on this like 35 grand, 40 grand, take a 5 grand haircut for me, or 10 grand. You're still going to make 25 grand. So you take your rehab, Now let's actually do real numbers here. 350K minus my 60K, and I didn't pay a wholesale fee, so that's gonna equal, it should be like 180 to 200 grand. 135 times 0.945 minus 350 minus 60 minus a very important number, purchase price 650. So that gets me down to 215,000. 215K. Now this is a very loose profit margin. It doesn't calculate your closing costs on the front end and maybe like your insurance, utilities, all that stuff. We typically will group that into this number, the rehab number. So make sure you know that those are all costs you're gonna incur. But back of napkin, when you're looking at deals, like the way we look at deals, we do a 5-minute pass to make sure we're not like way off, which typically we are right away on most deals. We're doing a first pass, which is like kill the deal. And if it comes out to be close, we then call the wholesaler agent and let them know like our range. We'll say, hey, it looks like we might be a little off on this. Would you guys be interested in a, let's say if you're looking at a $150,000 deal, that's what they're asking. Hey, I'd be around 100 to 130. How does that sound? Do not like say, hey, this is where I'd be. You just gotta figure out if they're negotiable or not. That's like the big thing. And then after that, you dive in and you do like a full underwrite. That's gonna be your going through all your pictures, building a true budget, and really digging in. Don't waste your time on every deal because you're gonna be way off on most. You just gauge the temperature and go from there. James.
Like what's kind of your like I guess your like work to profit like ratio? Like what makes a deal worth it for you as far as like the work involved versus the profit involved?
I built out like what I call a profit matrix. So it's gonna be, it's less, I guess it'd be work. How much cash am I deploying for how long? So is it a 9-month, like this one, I underwrote this as I have to make on paper 150 to 200 grand because I'm deploying $1 million of money. Like if the market goes bad and I sell it for 1.2, 1.25, I still have to have enough margin to be able to get out of it and not lose money. But I want to have upside. Like this is definitely this is a risk, but the risk has to be enough to be like, okay, this is worth it. Like if I can make 200 grand, that'd be amazing. I will say, I was talking to somebody a minute ago, like, does it always shake out to be this? Absolutely not. Like this is a very realistic 100 grand profit at the end of the day, but it could be 200, it could be 150. But I like the upside of this one, and also the neighborhood. They were saying that 99% of the listings sell for at list price in this neighborhood. That's pretty fucking good. So like if you put out a good product, this is like, that's why we're adding a 5th bedroom here, because this is a premier school district in Columbus, Ohio. People will pay a premium to get their kids into this school. So sliding that 5th bedroom up off there is a absolute no-brainer, because that's how you sell the house in these areas. Like we have a house in Clintonville. Clintonville is an area that's more empty nesters and people with not that many kids. So we got rid of a bedroom and made a giant primary bedroom. That made sense in that area. So when you don't just do the copy and paste in every single area. Once again, get a designer to help you with these things. Any questions on the numbers itself? Look at what my picture was here. Hopefully this stuff has been helpful. Is this, you guys like some of this stuff? Okay, cool. Hopefully stuff you don't really get to see. I mean, you can maybe see it on YouTube and stuff, but it's different when you're like in it and you can see the house and feel it. Okay, so last numbers thing. This is something that I've done for my last 3 houses that I've owned. Is if you find a house like this and you're like, this is my dream home or could be my dream home, how do you do this, do the BRRRR method on it and own it with none of your own cash? So like a down payment, let's just take this for example. Someone take 25% of 1.35. So conventionally, to buy this house, one of your buyers, when you're flipping this house, might be putting a little over $300,000 down. As a real estate investor, cash in a deal is sunk cash. Like, I want my cash to be working for me at all times. How can I turn that on top of its head and do that for myself? So in this scenario, 1.35, and it's just literally, you're doing the burr method. What's 1.35 times 0.75, Jared? Okay. 1,012,500 minus my $1 million all in. Actually, let's call it $1,060,000 all in. So in this scenario, just back of napkin, you can own this house as your primary residence with 25% down, 50 grand down. Much better than 350 grand down, right? So like, and then also at that point, I'm gonna get this a little more technical. You don't always have to put, if it's your primary, that 75% doesn't always have to be that. You can do, I'm doing on my house right now a bank statement loan. It doesn't, you don't even have to be able to if you make good income and you're an entrepreneur, you're probably not gonna get Fannie Freddie. But if you're working a W-2 job right now, it's a great way to do it. You can get up to 90%. 90%. Like, I was talking to NFM Lending. They said the jumbo loan, you can go up to 90% LTV. So Jared, do that scenario. 1.35 times 0.9. 0.9.
1,250,000.
Now, you have to be okay with debt, and you have 215. You have to be okay with debt, and you have to understand what you're doing here. But you owe to your lender $1,060,000. So in this scenario, you could cash out $130,000 after points and fees. Who would do that? Fucking everybody would do that, right? Like, as long as you make the money to afford the mortgage, but like, as you make more money and as you start doing this business, this is how you should be buying your personal houses. Because that money up here, that's a tax-free event. That'd be a cash out refi. Your mortgage on $1 million, now you can, this is a big number, do it on 200, same thing. You could take the money that you're cashing out in that scenario and set it aside for your mortgage payment for 3 years. It's tax-free money. Just fucking do it, right? You are a real estate professional. Work the system that's given. This is like, when I learned this, I was like, this is a game. That's what I'm doing right up the street. I bought my house for 1.1. I put 200 in. It's gonna price for 1.75. I'm getting 80% loan. It's gonna pay off. I'm gonna cash out like 50 grand. Whereas a normal person would come look at the house, they'd buy it for 1.75. They're gonna put $450,000 down. That is a terrible use of capital. Terrible. We're real estate investors. You're supposed to work the system, make the money work for you. Any questions on that? I just wanted to give that quick scenario because I wanted to give you guys kind of an insight of how I think you should be buying your personal residences. You can do the same thing with a house hack. Do it with a duplex, and then you double it. You then don't pay your mortgage because somebody else is paying it. You can burr method, house hack your way into it.
Quick question. I'm not understanding. You're doing that after you do the rehab?
After your rehab. So you do it like you do at a flip.
Okay.
So like, worst case scenario, you go to say, okay, maybe I can't afford my mortgage. You still can sell that house and make 200 grand. It's good to have options. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to talk about here today was just general construction tips. Does anybody have questions on like the process or some of the contracting of this house? I know it's like a very blankety question, but I guess the main concepts I wanted to get across were, if you guys are adding, let's say you have a 3-bed, 1-bath house, and you want to make it a 3-bed, 2-bath or 3-bed, 2.5 bath, where do you put those things? So there's one thing that you always want to try and do. It's called stacking bathrooms. So if my main bathroom in this house is over, so both the bathrooms, if you notice, one's low, one's high. Why is that? That's where the plumbing stack's at. So if I were to add more bathrooms in this house, you have to tie into that. So that's where my primary bathroom is going to go. It's going to go back over into that corner. That's why we made that room of this house the primary. That's why when we're blowing out the house, we're not blowing it off the side, we're blowing it off the back because the plumbing's right there, and then we're going to tie right into that main sewer line because that's where everything is at. So as you're learning this stuff, the big things are, where are the big items? Electrical can be moved really easily, plumbing not as much. Like if you have a house on a slab, let's say this is the house right here, and there's concrete slab, my main bathroom is over there and I want to put a bathroom here. What do you have to do? I have to cut the concrete from there to there and have it slope down. That's a very intense type of thing. So as you guys are designing your rehabs and learning to add value, make sure that you know those things. What was I going to say? I had a good point. Any questions on that? I don't want to throw too much at you guys here today, but I had a good point. I had a brain fart.
You are in the bathroom here.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And I think that what we'll end up doing is, I actually don't know yet, is the bathroom is going to be like in the middle here. And I think because the staircase is right there, we'll chase it down right in this wall. That's my best guess, is we'll make a chase right about here where Enoch's at, because you're going to have to run HVAC up there too. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a butt out there on the other side of that room. So yeah, we'll spend 350 grand on this house. Very well could be a little bit more, but I expect this thing to sell pretty fast. We're gonna do a whole series on this place. So as Amanda comes in, our designer, this week, we're gonna make videos about it. If you guys wanna follow along, check out the YouTube. Maybe we'll do another meetup here when it's done. I think that'd be cool. What do you not? Question? Oh, what's up?
I think I missed it. Are you adding the bathroom upstairs in one of those rooms?
Yeah, so the bedrooms, they go up and to the right here. We're gonna they're gonna make basically a Jack and Jill in between them too. So if you guys, as we finish up here, I think the end drawings are right behind Brent there. So you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about with the adding and subtracting of rooms.
And the ceiling, are you changing that?
We're not. So that was one thing I was like, do we pop the top of do we remove the whole roof of this house? Because the roof itself is good. So we'd have to redo everything, new framing, new roof. So I just talked to a lot of people and designers, and they were like, no, I think it'll be okay. So some people hate it though. Some people come in and I say that's a deal breaker, but that's kind of the risk you take as a flipper, is like, not everybody's gonna like your product. You just gotta make sure majority of them do. Emily.
You said you were going to drop the ceiling in here to add soffits to the plumbing. Are you going to make drop all the ceilings so it's consistent, or just?
I'm not gonna actually drop them. I'm gonna remove the ceilings and do new drywall. So this will all be same height, just drywalled with can lights and like a chandelier probably. Yeah, because the ceiling height of this house is what sells it. I mean, you walk in, you're like, whoa, does not look like it from the outside. You know? Anything you think I missed, Rob? Let me see. Rob's hungover. He's like, shut up.
Are there any seasonal things that you would or would not do depending on what time of year you're flipping a house?
Oh, don't plan on painting anything outside, really. Like right now I've got like 3 flips that are just sitting because I can't do anything exterior. So really plan your exterior work. But like if you buy something in December, get that stuff done immediately, because that's gonna be a huge bottleneck.
That's building garages and concrete work and all that.
Yeah, I mean, anything exterior, anything like paving. I mean, asphalt companies go away around December, so make sure that you're either putting that into like an agent to agent or giving somebody a credit if you're gonna do it, because driveways are a big thing too.
Out there, like, so if you're cutting all the electric, what do you do for the contractors working in the house?
Oh God, yeah. This shit sucks. Like wintertime flipping sucks.
Oh, for the heat?
Yeah, so make sure, like, if you're in a gutted house, get your HVAC in as soon as possible, and you get your electrician to run what's called a hot outlet. So you want to make sure that 1, your guys can have tools, and number 2, you want to get salamanders going in here before you get your HVAC going, because that is going to kill progress on your houses. And also, you don't want your pipes to burst, all that good stuff. That's a really good point. That is a huge pain in the ass. And then just make sure you're on your utilities. We have virtual assistants that call in our utilities right away. Make sure that you are on the utilities, because if guys, they'll come and they will not try and troubleshoot it. If it's not on, they'll leave and they'll go to their next job, no matter what. Anything else? Ken?
Gas meters are 5 weeks away minimum.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. That's a bad thing, but a good point. If you see your gas meter is pegged in the beginning or it's missing, call them immediately. But if it's a quick rehab, what we do is we swap our furnaces to electric in that scenario, and we just take away all the gas appliances.
Like that with Welch.
Yeah, I got a stop work order one time because I realized I didn't have gas, and they came in and made me rip everything out. It's horrible. It's horrible. I lost like 30 grand of money in that, and like probably 30 grand of opportunity cost because it was on Airbnb. It was terrible.
Also, kerosene yellows drywall ceilings.
Does it? I didn't know that. Got it. Very nice. Cool. I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit. If you guys need anything, I'm here to help. If you guys need contractor help, let me know. Ken's done contracting for a long time too. Are you gonna start doing contracting for people or mostly for yourself? Gotcha. But he's a wealth of knowledge. He knows a lot about construction. He's going to get into new construction here too. So if you guys have any questions, ask him. But I appreciate you guys coming out on a Sunday. This is fun. We'll do more. Just be on the lookout. Like I said, we'll make these first come, first served to anybody in the community. And then we'll just pop it out on my Instagram. And if you snooze, you lose. If you're addicted to your phone, you'll be able to come. Cool. See you guys.
Thank you.